To begin this one, I'm going to again draw on my love of NHL hockey. I absolutely love the game. And for those of you who don't know this character, this is Tom Wilson. Now in hockey, players come in all shapes and sizes. You've got the dazzling, touched by the hand of God, once-in-a-generation types like Mario Lemieux or Wayne Gretzky. You've got the talented defensemen such as Bobby Orr or Nicholas Lidstrom. You've got penalty killers, shot blockers, speed merchants, of which Tom Wilson doesn't really fit into any of these categories. In this 2021 NHL Breakers poll, Wilson was named the NHL's most hated player, specializing and excelling at one thing, and one thing only: creating chaos. Players like this are called many different things, much of which I cannot repeat here on YouTube, but the universal term for a player like this that's used around the league is rat. The ARC Steam forums are currently plagued by its very own version of Tom Wilson. Toxic, hated, chaotic, not able to excel at anything other than creating noise, dysfunction, and confusion, popping off here and there like an adolescent schoolchild, embodying the very worst traits of online discourse. So let's take a deep dive down this toilet bowl together and look at all of this insanity as I show you ARC's very own rat. What's going on, everybody? It's LtBuzzLitebeer, and welcome back to the channel. Now, I've been holding back on going full time to clap some cheeks mode on this one because I'm not that familiar with the Steam forums and how it tends to operate. I haven't posted, like, ever until yesterday. More on that a bit later on in this one. And so I consulted those with infinitely more experience than I when it comes to this form of media. I got the crash course, and in doing so, became all too familiar with the individual that has built their rat's nest within the comfy haven of the ARC Steam forums. And as far as I can tell, they seem to limit their chaos to just this platform. In general, I don't see this kind of stuff happening within the ARC Reddit community. I see all sorts of pushback on the wildcard ARC Community Crunch comment sections, but I don't see bans. I don't see posts getting deleted. But the Steam forums, yeah, the Steam forums are unique. So for the purpose of my investigations, all of this centers around this account, Dude with a Brain. But this is not a solo attack because Dude with a Brain has backup. Cool Anime Dude, Death Mew, and Daniel R. Cummings. And to understand this completely, you must first associate all of these as one singular user. It really doesn't matter which you consider the main and the other the alts. It all operates as one unit. A method of operation ARC's Steam community members are all too familiar with. When one account posts, and I'll show you some of these ramblings in a moment because they are special. Anyways, when one account posts, the other three accounts are bound to follow, saying the exact same thing with a few minor grammatical changes, and they all post within minutes of each other. Let me show you this in action. This is from the Community Crunch 356 Steam discussion. So this is the week after the initial announcement that the UE5 upgrade was now not going to be free, and ASA and ARC 2 were to be bundled together. This is the Community Crunch where Wildcard announced that ARC Survival Ascended was now going to be a standalone item costing $59.99 with DLCs included, but now minus ARC 2. Listen to these messages. Note the times, the tone and grammar being used, the mass Steam awards for each of these messages, and the over-the-top zealot support for Wildcard. First up is this statement by Dude with a Brain, which logged in at 8:46 p.m., and it pains me to read this. Making it even more free, even though it was basically already free. Thank you, Wildcard, but you didn't have to. Now I'm going to buy it for me and a lot of my friends because you clearly need the money to make this amazing high-quality content, such as ASA and the new story content and modding support. Thank you so much, Wildcard, for ASA adding massive improvements and doing it for cheap. ASA is worth $400. Wildcard, no one is buying Arc 2. Wildcard, please show us something, anything about ASA, even a small picture would do, but please show us something. And the second part of this statement is actually an edit that was added on something like 6 days later. Quote, "Stop with the gestures, people. Wildcard didn't need to do a remake in the first place. Making a remake will take a ton of time and effort and money, so instead of trying to destroy them, support them. Allow them to make the remake by supporting them. Making games is not free, but rather it's very expensive, so stop expecting something that takes hundreds of thousands of hours and millions of dollars for free. If Wildcard didn't get the money, they would have to make an actual cash grab one that takes no time and money to make, one that is low effort and low quality, instead making an insanely high effort remake. Most devs charge $60 or $70 for a remake, and some like Final Fantasy VII over $200 for a remaster, so this is effectively free. Also, whoever gave me Take My Points, thank you for showing Wildcard some kindness and being a decent human being." Okay, so here's a quick breakdown of some of the important points to take away from those incoherent ramblings. First up are the mention of the jesters, basically clown awards on Steam. These are what you don't want to see popping up on your post, effectively calling you a clown. You can also see that the post was edited 6 days later, as evidenced by the timestamp, probably and mostly due to their post just getting entirely flamed. Alt account number 1 comes in 11 minutes later. Deathmew writes, "Thank you for making ASA even cheaper, although it was entirely unnecessary as it was already worth more than the price tag, so I will buy it for me and my friends. I hope the new story content has a $60 price tag since you definitely need and deserve the money." Note the message similarities here, right? Thanks for making it cheaper. I'm going to buy it for my friends, and Wildcard deserves the money. Also, take a look at the Steam Awards. Although they are differing quantities, they pretty much stack up exactly with the Dude with a Brain post. Alt account number 2 comes in just 1 minute later. Cool Anime Dude posts, "Wildcard, thank you so much for being so kind. I will definitely be buying it. It is so cheap. It's basically free. Thank you for all the hard effort. You deserve the money. Keep up the good work. We love you, Wildcard." Again, the messaging. Thank you for making it cheaper. Wildcard deserves all the money, and all those Steam Awards again show up. And finally, alt account number 3 just 6 minutes later with Daniel R. Cummings' post. "Wildcard, you really didn't need to. Thanks, and I will definitely be buying it, and so will my friends. You're the kindest company I know." Again, I sound like a broken record at this point. Wildcard is the best. Me and my friends are all going to be buying this game, and multiple Steam Awards showing on the post. Okay, so 4 small details to note here, but they are extremely important for linking these accounts together. First up are the times. They always post close together. Rarely are these 4 accounts split up over any significant posting window. 2, they always seem to say the same message, with slight alterations here and there, and they also seem to lack the capacity to use punctuation or capitalization. 3, look at the Steam Awards their posts receive. They are always loaded up with these awards, which are similar for each of their posts. There's also this consistent pattern of posting basically the same message 4 times. And if they are caught doing so, they immediately go in and modify the messages so they're slightly different. But Steam records those edits with dates and times. And then number 4, there is the connection of post. You don't see one of these alt accounts posting solo in other gaming forums. They always post together and in their tight little pack. This post from user Retsum1, hopefully I said that correctly, calls out these 4 accounts, noting that they have all edited their original post within a short 30-minute window. And by the way, it's not common for someone to go in and edit their post, but this group does it consistently. This post also notes, "I make no claim of there being bots, but their efforts to quickly, after being referenced for the strange behavior, to edit their posts, and as well using the same similar writing style voice with their responses, readers can make their own decisions regarding what is compelling." Now, I'll return to this quartet in just a moment and touch on some of the responses, but first, I wanted to jump over and point out some interesting sides of their Steam profile itself, and I'm going to start off with Dude with a Brain. Now, if you hop into their games owned, Ark tops the charts with nearly 5,700 hours played, so decent time played here, but check out their achievements. Only 25 of 32 earned, and as pointed out by my experienced Ark guides, this Master Zoologist achievement is really simple to unlock, leading us to ask how someone with this many hours in Ark still hasn't unlocked it. I mean, not damning proof of anything here, but certainly curious, right? Because it begs the question, what have they been doing with their time in Ark? Also noteworthy, while we're over here taking a look at Dude with a Brain's profile, are their reviews. Each and every Ark paid expansion receives a thumbs up. All the free content, Crystal Isles, Vulgaro, Ragnarok in the center, etc., they all receive a thumbs down. And look at the comment for each of these I just mentioned. It's just simple cut and paste. This should cost a lot of money because Wildcard deserves the money. This is way buggier and even worse, and most importantly, no story. Okay. The Ark review post dates are all the same, November the 20th, 2021, and even more bizarre is each and every one of their reviews is blessed with the exact same number of Steam awards. And even the reviews that they leave with a positive rating, they just simply cut and paste the exact same comments in each and every one of them. Here, this bit about the content of each of these reviews reads the exact same. Unbelievable amount, hundreds of hours of content, and you can replay countless times because each time you play will be completely different. A long story, lots of areas to explore, so many items, over 1,000, and so many enemies, over 100, not counting bosses. Okay, so how about one of their buddies? Let's take a look at Deathmew. Well, this one's even more shocking than Dude with the Brain's profile. Look at these 20 reviews. Just here to check my hours. Thumbs up. All posted January 27th. How about all that free Ark content? Yeah, you guessed it. A thumbs down for all of that with cut and paste comments. Official mods are much buggier and have far less content in the main games of the series. With no story and much more lag, they are still better than most AAA games. And then in all caps, needs more dragons. I mean, what? Your guess is as good as mine, but this screams alt or burner account to me. Simple cut and paste and following all the same trends as the what we would consider the main account, Dude with a Brain. And just for shits and giggles, let's take a look at Cool Anime Dude with 5 cut and paste reviews for Ark and Ark paid DLC, all posted on the same date and edited on that same date as well. Now, none of these profile facts and review posts necessarily label these accounts as offensive, but they certainly bring the term bot into this discussion. Now, Steam is known to be easily manipulated through apps like Archie Steam Farm or others. Hours played, achievements, it can all be manipulated, and from the information I received, manipulated quite easily. I also wanted to briefly touch on this bit about Dude with a Brain's Steam Profile Awards. And no, your eyes are not deceiving you. That reads 1,125,250 Steam points, which, in case you didn't know, Steam will give you 100 points for every dollar spent. Just do the math. That's $11,252.50 spent on Steam. Where are they getting it all? Are they funded by some big corporation out there? I mean, it is a possibility because they spend the bulk of their time in the Ark forums. Could Snail or Wildcard somehow be involved in this venture? Again, it's entirely a possibility because of what this Dude with a Brain is able to initiate and the results they're able to achieve in the Steam forums. Again, being a bot, using alts, farming on Steam for points, I mean, not the best of behaviors, but certainly not enough to label a user as trouble. There's another element that's required here. The user has to also engage in questionable social interactions to really be noteworthy of that moniker. And here is where this quartet of profiles excels. They begin with their volley of overly supportive posts towards Wildcard, with the comment structure I've already shown you, all four in rapid succession, and when the inevitable backlash starts coming down, here's where you get to see their true talents. And remember the hockey analogy. A rat is someone that doesn't possess the skill set to compete with better players. They can't score, they can't defend, but what they can do is agitate. They egg on other players. They create chaos by consistently crossing the line. Dude with a brain and his alts don't achieve this with facts, wit, or even intelligence. Instead, they turn to just outright childish behavior. Anything they can't defend or is contradictory to their statements, they call lies. When they are asked for facts, they deflect. It's like trying to deal with an adolescent child. It devolves into this whole round robin of, I know you are, but what am I? Again, the rat can't compete, so they resort to ridiculous behavior to mask their lack of true skill. Here's an example. When forum users Windwalker82 and Zero saw one of my last ARC videos and made mention of it, Cool Anime Dude came in with this banger. That video is a bunch of lies and nonsense. It deserves no support. Wildcard should be the one being supported. Now, despite the disturbing lack of punctuation and capitalization, this response is in a typical format from this quartet. Accuse, deflect, and instigate. Never providing proof, just adding chaos. You see the word lies constantly littering their incoherent ramblings. And by the way, you never know who exactly they're going to be responding to because they lump like 5, 6, or 7 responses all into one post. Again, no punctuation, no capitalization, no context. It all screams an adolescent is at the other end of the keyboard. They make claims, allegations, and when someone engages them back and tries to have a civil discourse, they egg them on, they instigate them, and draw them in. Now, I'm not going to insult you by posting any more of their ramblings because they're all the same, incoherent and baseless. But here is where the rat is at their best. Drawing penalties. It's all they're good at because when they've created enough anger, enough chaos, they get you to retaliate. Of course, acting like they were the innocent party here. None of this was their faults when the entire time it was exactly their actions that have created this situation. Now, here's my advice to anyone on the Steam forums that is actually trying to have a coherent conversation with this cretin. You don't fight crazy with crazy. Let that sink in. And let me just say it again. You don't fight crazy with crazy. This person specializes at creating chaos, drawing people into the conversation, agitating, and then when you retaliate, they mass report you through the use of their multiple accounts and get you banned over on Steam. Boom, game over, they win. And it leads us into an entirely different tangent discussion of why. Now, to try to understand this, we need to step back and take a 30,000-foot view of the situation and where the battles are being waged. Remember how I mentioned earlier that negative reactions that are being posted to the ARC Community Crunch posts themselves or over on Reddit are not being censored. For the most part, they are not being scrubbed or deleted. They are left intact. And why is that? Why is Steam the only platform where everything is being heavily monitored? Now, I'm sure there are a ton of theories out there as to why, but my thoughts on this one are really quite simple. Follow the money. Steam is where the cheddar exchanges hands. You don't buy ARC over on Reddit. You don't buy it in the Community Crunch comment sections, but here on Steam, this is where it all goes down. So naturally, Wildcard and Snail want to have this look as positive as possible in their favor. Pissed off consumers posting accurate but negative statements about their games is bad for business. Now, I've received reports of Steam posts being completely deleted from the forums, more than likely by ARC Steam moderators. But when you can create enough chaos, when you can pull enough of the responses down into the filth with you, down to your adolescent level, you can take it a step further and get the whole Community Crunch forum just locked up on Steam. Now, as I look through these community discussions, the vast majority of posts are not happy with what Snail and Wildcard have planned for ARC, me included. And then you have this quartet out there posting rainbows and unicorns about how great everything Wildcard does. They can do no wrong. Again, usually with no punctuation or capitalization. Again, adolescent. And this is where my theory kind of plays out as I think about their in-game strategy as it coexists with the ARC Steam community forums. This group posts their ardent support for Wildcard. Not ARC so much, just the studio itself. They wait for the responses to their posts, then they tag those responses, they accuse, they egg on, they instigate, they aggravate, they keep tagging, they keep deflecting until they get enough noise stirred up that Paul from Valve steps in and locks the whole thing as it is devolved into non-productive arguments. Now between the ARC Steam mods and this chaotic quartet, they have effectively created a scrubbing shield between what the community truly feels and what the studio wants to portray as their version of the truth. I guess the million-dollar question comes down to, do you personally think Dude with a Brain and their alts are employed or are at least working in cahoots with the studio? I mean, there's a ton of speculation and heavy indications toward the possibility that they are. It wouldn't be too far-fetched a theory, too, especially when you take into consideration how many recent positive reviews have been left for Ark Survival Evolved, even today, by users with low hours played and 1 total review to their name. And I won't even go into the comments being left, but this is all very suspect. Snail and Wildcard continue to sell ASE with no disclosures about what is coming in August. They see the current mixed ratings on Steam and are taking whatever steps necessary to artificially raise those ratings. Remember, bad ratings and pissed off comments don't translate to consumer confidence or consumer spending. As far as the brainless ones themselves, I mean, I actually left them a serious comment yesterday, the first comment I've ever posted over on Steam, asking them to explain their motivations. Instead of a response, I got more quotes, allegations, and deflections from one of their alt accounts. My advice would be to just block all of them. Don't respond because you're just playing into their hands. Again, you don't fight crazy with crazy. They're just going to keep egging you on, drawing out more and more anger, more and more vitriol until they can mass report you, they can get their way and get you banned from Steam. Ignore them, and they will have no fuel for their fires of just rank stupidity. If you happen to like the video, maybe consider hitting that subscribe button and ringing the notifications bell to receive my latest upload alerts. You can find and follow me on Twitch, Twitter, and over in my open community Discord server, links to all of which can be found in the video description and pinned comments below. Shout out to the over 119,000 of you that have taken the leap and hit subscribe, and as always, a special thank you goes out to my patrons over on Patreon. Until the next one, this is LtBuzzLitebeer, signing off.